What's good, everybody? It's Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, back at it with another reaction. This is my first reaction to Jalopy Bungus's music. Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video on the road to 10K. But if you're OG, what's up? You should know I've reacted to a couple of Jalopy's breakdown videos. Now, I'm aware he's an MC, but I did not check out his music yet. And I try to dive into artists who kind of do what I'm doing, as far as like building up a YouTube while being an artist. And to me, it's a really dope thing as far as being on YouTube, especially if you're able to build an audience, build a community, because that really does help with you being able to invest to kind of focus more into music, especially if you're dropping stuff that are getting a good amount of views consistently. So shout out to Jalopy. Let's go ahead and check this out. This is the 106 and Park Freestyle featuring Shrub. Let's get it.
Spirit of hip hop.
Let's get surgical. It's about to get surgical.
Spirit of hip hop.
Yeah. What you got, Jalopy? I like this beat. Phoenix, Arizona.
Just know I'll probably complain if I ain't spark a weed. Wheezing, plotting on a milli like the Carter 3. Part of me for what I'm concealing can drop a fleet. I've been in my bag tripping, as y'all can see. To be
Yo, Jalopy, are you in Phoenix? And shout out to the Japan shirt because hey, y'all gotta go check out my video any day now. I shot it in Japan and I dropped a couple of little vlogs from Japan. But I'll say Shrub is super chill. And then like that super chill Carter reference. And you know what's dope about this video is that it reminds me so much of the dope art events I would go into in my 20s. And I don't know how old Jalopy is, but I'm 34, and so this reminds me a lot of that particular energy. You look at the people that are there and you just see the vibe. It's like if you know, you know. If you know the hybrid art vibe of like the painters, the poets, the hip hop artists, the graffiti artists, it's like they have their separate things, but then there's like a mesh of them. The creators, these are vendors, these are makers and creators all together. So that's what this reminds me of. But his flow, Shrubhead, is super chill. I salute to the urban.
specific, my spills deeper than these oil leaks. Why I seek it when I could pay attention to buoyancy, stay afloat.
Yeah.
Remember that I'm supposed to breathe, staying 10 toes down, but I won't drown. Nowadays, the now can't be what I wish to swim in unless I cleanse my sins off in the actual river. It's best to listen instead of riffing till your neck's missing. Head sitting on a sword. I swore to myself I won't give up, no ignore all the gifts I was given from the Lord. Then they say hallelujah. Keep your palms together. Pray.
The reason why I'm laughing is because this lady right here. I know there's several different shots, but it's unfortunate because she's like really feeling it, but she has no rhythm. And then there's like another scene where she's just standing there. And it's just like, shout out to her because those are usually the people with the most heart. Shout out to her.
For the movement, these fools know the drill. We overpower tools like home improvement. Keep it real anyway. I'm still wildin', pouring like 40s on the most for the souls that reside right beside the Holy Ghost. I see they spirits in the Henny steering close off the road towards the highway to heaven, nigga.
Y'all thought I was done. Are you dumb? I just took a break. Thought I went through shit as a team. My 20s took the cake. Had to get my head right. Had to get my soul straight. Get a job, become responsible, control my own fate. If you niggas
yo, let me tell you, that is literally, that's the ish that can do it right now. Shout out to you, Jalopy, because it's just all like, if you know, you know. And let me say, as far as the whole, job thing, look, I will say, I don't know if it was just like the early like 2010s to like 17 or something like that, but there is this kind of stigma, which I don't know where it came from, but it doesn't make sense. There is this stigma as a creator, especially as a rapper, even a musician in general. You want to pursue your craft full time, but you need money, not just money to live, but money to invest. And I will tell you, doing it for a little bit, even the circumstance that I had, you know, it was almost, it's like an ego death. And I'm the type of person who doesn't feel like they have like this super big ego. I'm usually chill, super humble, different things like that. But where my ego was in that area. There's a certain a pride that you have, like, yo, I'm making a living off of this, and if I get a job, then I failed. But his verse hit so hard because it was just all like, I've been doing music, I mean, since I was young, but pursuing it pretty much right out of high school. And my virtual my virtual footprint is online, from write-ups on DJ booth and smoking section and local news and different things like that, to having 12 plus projects. I was maneuvering, but during that time, I was going to school, I was working full time and pursuing music, doing shows and different things like that. It wasn't until 2017, I think when I was like 25 or so, that I had left. I released my first fiction book. I did a bunch of research and I was just like, yo, I'm just gonna be at, vendor. Like, I had already made these connections, just performing and everything like that. So I was just like, all right, let me go and then I'll throw shows, I'll, do X, Y, and Z. And that was good for a little bit, but I didn't have my own place. Like, I was living with my mom, and then I was living, then 2020 happened, the pandemic happened, and then I ended up moving in with my sister in another city, and then I ended up moving in with my dad in another city, and then I ended up coming back home and getting my own place. And there was something that just switched to where it was just like, look, you're gonna have to get a job, take care of this stuff, and then come back at it. You know what I mean? And I was really destroyed. Like it was bad. I was just all like, if I do this, I'm a failure. Like, it was stuck in my head that if I went and got a job after leaving to pursue my dreams, I had a cool 5 years though. Like, I had a cool couple of years before having to actually get, a job and seeing what it took, and now here we are. That's why those lines hit so hard. Sorry for the rant, but it was just like I had to give context, on why that, you got to go through that thing spiritually. You got to go through that stuff mentally. In my case, I was going from, there's been times that I lived by myself, but for the majority of my adulthood life at that point, I had lived with someone, whether a roommate, whether a family member, whether a significant other, you know, um, I had just was always stayed with someone. So this was the first time, and for the longest time, that I've stayed on my own, and I felt like that I had to take some years, to almost just detox. It just every like and just kind of recognize certain bad habits and traits that I took on during all of those times, and then the good habits as well, and just find myself in that. Forget, what, I was influenced by. I had to go in and find myself, and that's been this whole journey. It's like I went from performing 10 years straight, almost like you want to talk about the 10,000 hours, that was done. You know what I mean? And it when 2020 happened, I took a break and haven't performed as much. And I'm getting back to that point. I've at least had some performances, this year so far. But man, that shout out to you, Jalopy, because I'm sorry. It's just I feel it. I feel it. I know what it is. You know what I mean?
I ever quit, you don't know me well. Rethought life when I was sitting in that holding cell. Everybody blind to my pain, I don't know no braille. Thought my whole family was sober, now I know the smell. Told you motherfuckers I'm a soldier, I can never tell. God got his hand on my shoulders, I can never fail. Might as well leave my soul alone, cause I'll never sail. Dark nights, crying in my room, but I never yell. Give a fuck if they underrate me, they never mean shit. Give a fuck if these niggas hate me, they hated Jesus. Flow frozen, broke cold, I'm not anemic. I'm the meanest, they Kawhi, they playing defense. Oh.
Let me say, yo, Jalopy, you wanna collab? You wanna collab? If you watching this, you wanna collab? I wanna get you on the track, son. Yo, that whole they hated it's okay if they hated me, they hated Jesus. I don't think a lot of people really sit with that reality. And whether you're religious or not, you can exchange that for any person who did like you would just be like, why would they hate this person? This person, like, there is a person that hates that person for the sheer fact that they're good. You know what I mean? So it for that, and to keep that in mind, if you're an artist, if you're a creator, you those are the type of things that keep in the forefront. Like I think some of the biggest things that you can develop that would take you a long way, just in my experience and things that I'm still working on, you hear it all the time: patience, but also a thick skin and not taking things personal, you know, and personal to the point that you're willing to throw your dreams away, you're willing to, just stop. And that's what he mentioned as well. It's just like never stop, take that break, never stop. But not taking it personal to the point that you don't put certain things in perspective. You don't put certain things in perspective, and it can feel like a pile on. Man, this isn't happening, and I'm getting these response, or I'm getting the lack of these response, or especially in the commentary community, and as far as giving your thoughts, especially if you look at Jalopy's channel, and maybe there's people who, for one, they see his rise and so they hate on that. Or you have certain fan bases of certain artists that he may have a critique on, and you get that particular type of hate. And it's just all like, look, at the end of the day, everybody gets hated. Once you get past that, like once you really get past, and it's not easy. Like a lot of this stuff, you got to train your mind to do it. It doesn't come naturally. And I think sometimes that's what throws people off, that it's a muscle that you have to train, but once you start understanding that, a good book to read is Atomic Habits. Like that book is really, really dope. But Yo, Jalopy's killing it. It's just all like I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I was expecting his verses to be eclectic, and different things like that because I watch his commentating, content. But to actually hear him, like this is dope.
I'm in a different type of bag, yup. Pretty lady bag, yup. Face down, ass up, and I be paranoid, so it ain't much. And I can't even put my hand in my pocket like I'm Dave Blunts. But hey, chump, better watch what you say, chump. I'm Kim K and Kanye, let a K dump. If you don't wanna battle, don't utter my name once, nigga.
Yeah, and I think his origin is battle rapping, so that's dope, man. Yo, I'm in the process of like trying to really do some mini tours. Like prior to the pandemic, I was doing those. It was called like the expansion tour, and I've been thinking about hitting Arizona. I've been there once, but yeah, well, no, I've been there a couple of times. I've been to like Tempe and a couple of other places rolling through. Before we get into that, this video is sponsored by me. Hey, if you want to dive into new music, I have a catalog. Yeah. These are not singles, these are albums. But more recently this year, I did release an album called Tame Chaos. So you can listen, stream, download, purchase all of that in the link in the description. And just, check it out because I want to see if people are actually seeing this and going to the site. So, anyways, but this was dope. This was dope, man. And man, I gotta link up with Jalopy, man. That was fire. That was fire. But yeah, this was dope. That beat was fire as well. I'm curious on why they named it the 106 Park Freestyle. Um, I might have missed. I definitely haven't paid attention to the BET freestyles in a minute, so I don't know if that was maybe a beat from it. But either way, that beat was fire. Everything, both artists was dope. Man, that they just sound like people I would. They just seem like people I would chill with. Man, I gotta get out there. I gotta get out there. But anyways, y'all. It's Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, back at it with another reaction. Make sure you like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video on the road to 10K. Make sure to check out the description for my music, books, comics, and more. I have my Bandcamp with my 10 plus albums. I have a specific music video that's Get to Know Mr. Composition and 7 music videos. So all that will be in the description if you're curious to hear my music. But anyways, y'all. Peace.